Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Anytime I want, anytime I want, it's about the right to walk around like whole wide world. Anytime I want, we don't have a right to stop me and ask me what I do. Walk around the whole wide world. Anytime I want, anytime I want to. Anytime I want to, anytime. All about the right. All about the right. It's about the right to walk around this wide world. Whole wide world. Anytime I want, anytime I want. It's about the right to walk around this wide world. Whole wide world. Anytime I want, anytime I want. It's about the right to walk around this whole wide world. Anytime I want, anytime I want. You don't have a right to stop me and ask me what I do. Walk around the whole wide world. Anytime I want, anytime I want to. Anytime I want, anytime I want to. Anytime I want, anytime I want to. Anytime I want, anytime that I want to.
It's about the right.
About the right. Walk around this whole wide world.
Anytime I want.
Anytime I want to.
We are here. Good morning, everyone. I'm Senabella, your host for Coffee Break Live, of course, with Senabella, and I'm here today to say that I'm excited about living. I'm excited about where we're going, and I'm excited about great communication that ends to great end results. Today, I have a wonderful, fabulous guest that's coming on the show that I've met years ago. And I was excited, and I'm using the word excited again, I know, but I was encouraged. How about that? That the conversations that are in my head that I want to have, the things that I need to talk, that I'm bringing in the right guests who can address those things, speak to those things, everything that's going on in the world. But how is it affecting us right here on the ground where we are? All of these things matter. What we think, what we do, how we feel about things that have gone on in the past. And then, of course, the current changes that are taking place as a result of the Honorable Reverend Jesse Jackson's passing. There are so many things that we have to address, so many things that we need to think about in terms of saying, are we present and accounted for? Are we ready for new changes to take place? As parents, what have you done to make sure that you secure the ground for the future for your children? And what are some of those things that you're concerned about that we should address? And I know that there is a plethora of things for me as a mother, as a woman in the community, as a person who is friends to other people who are all ethnicities, but African-American woman. And then again, let's talk about that. There's this here idea that somehow we should now be called foundational Black Americans. So we've gone from say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud. I've been a Negro, I've been a colored person, I'm Black and I'm proud. And now we're African Americans. Should we be foundational Black Americans? And what makes us so foundational? What have we done to claim that title? Foundational. Is it all about the blood in terms of like where we have been born? Or is it really about what we've actually done to say that we truly are Americans making a difference, not only in the lives of, say, Black Americans, but America as a whole? There's so many things that we need to address and unpack. And so today I'm very happy, and I'm happy to bring to the stage to talk to Craig Wimberly. He is the president, the leader of the executive of COLE, the Coalition for African American Leadership. And let me say that one of the things about this organization, and it's very prestigious, is that it is part of really active African American men who have been doing some very solid things on the ground. And I may be saying men, and I may be making it smaller than what it actually is, because a lot of organizations today are mixed organizations with men and women. But I'm going to bring him to the stage and let him tell you about his work, his journey, his life, and the views he has about today and where we're going tomorrow. So welcome to the stage, Craig Wimberly.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Life is good.
Good. So what's the first thing you got on your mind this morning as you come in? What are your first thoughts?
I'm excited to be with you on this program. You know, you're someone I admire. I like the work that you're doing, and the opportunity to chat with you on your program, I'm excited about.
Wow, so that's a big client. Come on now. Well, I'm excited to always do any and all things that has to do with communicating to us. And I'm saying us because one of the conversations we've had, we talked about inclusion, right? But the inclusion in a way that's proper and necessary. You know, it's not just about us being friends and being able to rub elbows together and say that we can help each other write grants and things, but we're really, what are we doing to change the forecast of this place we seem to be stuck in? You know, we want friendships and relationships more than we want to say the execution of what it is that we're here to do.
Well, it's about coalition building. But let's say the first coalition we must build is within our community, right? We're divided by those with money, those without, those that are educated, those that are not, those who are Ivy League educated. We find ways to separate ourselves. And so the first coalition we have to build within our own community. Currently, we got those that focus on us that are descendants of chattel slavery versus those that are immigrants, you know, from Haiti or from the diaspora. We really need to work together as a community on the issues that impact us. So let me just say the most important thing is for us to continue coalition building.
Yes.
And that's important.
It seems like it's gotten very basic too, and what we have to go back to, maybe because we didn't do this right. You know, you have Haitians and Jamaicans and Africans, you know, coming into the community here in Chicago in the United States, and now they're speaking against African American people. Some of them are just saying some really ridiculous, lewd things about us, you know. And it's hurtful because it's like, I don't believe that we have been unhappy with the presence of our counterparts, our, say, genetic counterparts. We've been happy to see everyone come in, but it's now with the ground being so, it's like quicksand.
You know what it is? The powers that be are extremely good at getting folk to fight amongst themselves while they continue to rob, right, and do what they need to do. And we've got to resist that, right? It's like after, you know, freed slaves and poor whites after the Civil War, right, actually started working together. And then they figured out that's a problem. So let me make sure these poor whites understand you're really more like us than them. So the powers that be look to break us up, and we have to resist that. And stay focused on the task at hand.
It's interesting that you said that because I hadn't even really thought back on that clearly as it's happening so readily every day. We had Nicki Minaj when she went up against all Black America when she joined Donald Trump on stage. And she said, "Oh, I just love you." She went from he's this and that to he's this. And a lot of people who have public space do that. They kind of shimmy back and forth with their supposed stances and how they view things that should be done. And I have to say that I think some of our officials are doing the same thing as well.
Yeah, well, they get caught up. The key thing is this. We know that's going to exist, right? Those that get lost. The key for us is to find those that understand it and work together with those individuals, right? So me working with you, right?
Sure.
And that's really what the Coalition of African American Leaders is about. And can I give you a little bit background on the organization?
Please do. I mean, it's not just for me, it's for everyone. So we all need to know.
All right. So again, I'm president of the Coalition of African American Leaders. COLE is what we call ourselves. It was formed in 2002, starting with the 13 historical African American men's clubs. So Chicago has a rich history of relatively successful brothers who could not get into the majority organization or did not wish to. So they formed their own club. So in Chicago, we have the Snakes and the Druids and the Chicago Assembly and the Frogs and the Original 40 Club. So these clubs are relatively successful Black men that form these clubs for fellowship, support, networking. Mm-hmm. Well, if you think about it, and this is how I frame the forming of COLE. If you have a great career, you make good money, nice home, 2 cars, send your kids to college, you say, oh, I'm successful. But if your community is hurting, then your measure of success is off.
Oh, yes.
And so what we said is we could not mess with the individual integrity of these clubs, but we would come together and form COLE as a means of focusing on the community. The clubs can be insular themselves, although they do community-based work. But COLE would be the means by which we take our collective resources, our knowledge, our experience, our dollars, and focus on the issues that impact the Black community. So that's what we're about, is improving the quality of life for Black folk expansively. And it starts with educating ourselves in the community, because we are not as informed a community as we need to be. And so COLE holds a monthly breakfast where we bring policymakers, those who execute policy, those who are expert in various fields that impact our community, and we have a dialogue. And the reason for the dialogue is to identify the actionable steps we can take to address an issue. And that's what we're about.
Now, in that monthly breakfast, and I've been to it before. In fact, Robert Beck, Dr. Pass, he brought me in, and I was surprised to see the kind of people there that I would normally see on TV or hear about.
Absolutely.
Breakfast and coming together, and they were taking my information and saying, "Oh, Senabella, sure, we'll support you in this." And I'm like, "Wow!" But how does the public access COLE for its use? How can people access COLE?
Well, what we do is, we have our newsletter that goes out. Whoever our meetings are public, so they're open to our membership and the public, right? So so through word of mouth, people attend. We've got working committees, so people can join the committee, education committee, health and wellness, law and public safety, economic empowerment. And the key thing is for us to identify an issue and work together to resolve it. So I'm going to give you a specific example. Once we heard that CPS was attempting to shut down urban prep, and CPS said they were shutting them down for specific reasons. So I picked up the phone, called the heads of urban prep, Dennis Lacewell and Boyd, had them come in to a COLE breakfast and talk to us about the issues that you're having and why CPS wants to shut you down, and also tell us how well you're continuing to educate our boys and young men. We were confident in the position they had, that they were being unfairly um, shut down. And so we took to the streets, in a sense, to support them. Press conference, full-page ad in newspapers, uh, both majority papers and minority papers, calling on the governor and the mayor to step in and stop this. Couple of our attorneys, Jim Montgomery, Victor Henderson, gave up their time to work with the legal counsel of Urban Prep, and we literally stopped them from shutting them down. The day before they were being shut down, the appellate court put a stay on it, all because of the work we were doing.
That's amazing.
But here's the thing, we did that because Urban Prep educates our young men successfully. Therefore, as an institution in our community, we can't step by. And yet I did not hear our elected officials stepping up or anyone else to save them. So we find an issue that impacts the community. And if we can do something about it, we attempt to.
I remember when Philip Jackson was alive, God bless him.
Yeah.
He used to have a big graduation, party, if you will, for all young Black men who had graduated across the city, right? And bring them together. It was like 100 or 200 of them. And so how is that initiative continued? Do you all continue to bring them together, celebrate? And again, in the dissemination of information, I hear what you're saying. We put out a newsletter, but how does the public in general access Cole?
Again, we've got our website, of course, right? So colechicago.com is our website. So you can access us via the website. Again, the monthly breakfast is a way to join us. And here's the thing that's interesting. And this is what I love about Cole. So I'll give us a few points. The goal is not just to educate ourselves in the community, but it's to build a network. Because here's the thing. I do believe that we will never all get in a big room and agree on a thing. Each of us, though, has spheres of influence. So if, Senabella, you and I are connected, and you have an issue you need support on, you pick up the phone and call me. Now I've got Cole behind me. So I think each of us in our spheres of influence, right, must be connected. And that's what we try to do. And so there's an organization called Hip Hop Detox, run by Enoch Mohammed. He brought together hundreds of young, of our youth, training them in different areas, teaching them various things, and we support his effort. So it's not a Cole initiative, but we recognize the good work that Hip Hop Detox is doing, so we're going to support them. And so a couple of my friends who own a drone technology company, I got them to participate in this annual event that Hip Hop Detox has. Again, finding ways to support each other.
I agree with all that, Craig. I want to kind of interject here and say this. I hear different organizations, not like yours, but similar to yours, who are doing the same things, and they're all at a certain level. How do we reach down to those under that level? How do you build capacity for improvement, empowerment, and uplifting when you have people still on the ground suffering from homelessness, kids still being harmed and snatched in the streets? How does Cole and other organizations say, how can we add one more thing to our agenda and reach down and get the very bottom of this here situation?
Well, one thing is we bother to care enough to come up with ways to do that. So it starts with caring. So it starts with understanding that I might be a successful brother, but I'm tied to the young guy on the street with his pants down. We got to think of ourselves as community and not the other. So it starts with a mindset, right? That we're all in this together. I will tell you, I was at Amico for 20 years, left there as an executive in information technology. There were brothers and sisters at Amico that thought they had arrived somewhere, that no longer were connected to the community. We have to understand that we are all in this fight together, right? Because whether it's someone poor, they stop driving while black, or me, it always going to impact us. So it starts with caring. And then what you do is you determine and you find folks that are working on a problem and you find out ways to assist them. So again, Enoch Muhammad, Hip Hop Detox, 1,000 youth that I would never be able to connect with, right?
Mhm.
But he's connecting with them. And so how can I support his effort?
Mhm.
There are organizations that work with women suffering from domestic violence. So how can I be supportive of them? It might be that I can help pass legislation, right, that supports that. It's understanding that we're all in this together and finding ways to assist each other, right, and be supportive, because we all can't work across the board on everything. But what we can do is identify those that are working in a space and doing it successfully and support them.
Sure. And I believe that every aspect of work needs to find a way to be present. And sometimes it's hard. New organizations, new smaller ancillary, kind of nonprofits and so forth, they're out here, they're struggling, just trying to keep the doors open. There are a lot of active things on the ground that are going on. And it just doesn't seem like everybody's under this umbrella. It seems sometimes you don't find everybody finding shelter, help, the right guidance. And I think some of it is that people are stuck in their own heads, in their own space.
Exactly. And we've been trained, right, that if you and I partner on a thing, I'm going to look at the font used for my name on the flyer. And if it's smaller than yours, I got a problem. We are taught, right, not to work together, not to focus on the goal. And that's what we have to move beyond. So let me give you an example as you relate to organizations. I'm going to work with a company run by Valerie Leonard called Nonprofit Utopia. And we're going to train organizations in grant writing and sourcing funds for their work. We're going to work with another group on developing a civic training, but I want to find dollars for it so we don't have to charge for it, right? So we'll have civic training that's geared toward our youth and civic training geared for us. So just finding ways that you can do your part, right? And not knocking, here's the key thing, and not knocking what someone else does.
I agree with that. It is a way of saying, you know what, we're going to be here, but let's make sure that we include these two other people on our agenda, these two small, like Lawrence spokes in a wheel. Lawrence Smith spokes in a wheel. And then JJ is saying, is there one place that we can check for the services that are needed? How do we find these organizations? And, there used to be a thing called the Black Book, the Yellow Pages. How do we make sure that everybody is aware of everyone, what's going on, and have it continually updated?
Well, one of the things we have to do is demand that our elected officials do their jobs. Our elected officials, part of their responsibility should be making those connections. If I am the alderman of the 6th Ward, right, I should be sending out communication that says these are the organizations in the ward or citywide that you can take advantage of. We do not force our elected officials to serve us. And here's the thing, if they're not serving us, we should get rid of them.
I totally agree with that. I get so tired every time there's time for voting. You hear from the elected officials, everybody got stuff stuffed in your mailboxes. You see their faces everywhere, but you look out and you don't see the results. And that is one of the biggest arguments that the Republican Party has against the Democrats. And I'm not saying that we're all Democrats or that we're Republican, but as people, let's speak from just the space of being a person. If you don't see things effectively changing in your neighborhood and you've been complaining about it nonstop, that means the neighborhood is not a neighborhood. That means that the people who are over that area, the aldermen, the council people, all of them, they're not working effectively. And I really do believe that we need to protest one another when we find that those things are not happening.
And the way to also do it
till election time. We shouldn't wait till somebody gets killed or kidnapped.
Right. And so I don't know if you know Del Marie Cobb, but she heads up.
I do.
Ida's Legacy, which is her political action committee.
Mm-hmm.
And we discussed developing scorecards for our elected officials, one for aldermen, one for our state reps, our state senators. We need scorecards so that when it comes time to vote, we're going to vote based on what you delivered versus do I like you?
Yes. And we need to have a checklist so everybody can.
Absolutely.
Before we hit the booths. Like, it's a delay in voting because I'm like, you're like, who am I really voting for? I care so much about my vote. It's like, I don't want to just walk in and be all Democrat, all Republican, all independent. I want productive, active, I'm going to be on the job. At least you've run to that excess, that I now believe in you enough to vote on you. But I want to see this. If I'm bringing you back, like we talk about, here's Tony Preckwinkle coming back. Here's so many other officials that we have names. Jesse Jackson Jr. is back in the game. What makes that person who's running why do you qualify for my vote? What have you done in the past that makes me know that what you'll do in the present has some effect of goodness and viability for what our community really needs? I think I need to use my vote like it's the overarching thing that's going to change my community.
And let me give you a couple of examples of what we've done, Cole, in that area. So about a decade, maybe 12 years ago, we initiated a judicial candidates meet and greet. And so now Cole is a premier event for meeting our judicial candidates because I wanted us to know our minority candidates, of course, but also all candidates. So annually, when it's time for our judicial candidates to run, right, I hold one breakfast devoted to judicial candidates. So they line up, they introduce themselves. Now, you can't ask many questions of a judicial candidate, right? But what you can understand is what their background is, what motivates them. We do that for electing new judges, and we do it for retention judges. The other thing we've done.
Before you go on,
all right.
Why can't we ask questions of judges the way we do others? Is it because of what they do?
Yes, because of what they do. You do not want them to comment on something that might come before them. I had a number of judges come join an organization meeting last night, and the head of the organization wanted their opinion on something the state's attorney is doing. And what they tried to impart to him and the members that they were in front of was they can't give voice to an opinion on what he was asking because that might come before them as a case, and they don't want to recuse themselves based on having had a comment on it. And so what you can do with judges, right? If they're attorneys, you look at their background, right? What type of cases have they worked on? What community work have they done? All right, so on and so forth. So there are ways that you can identify who you might want to vote for based on that background. We go in knowing that we need a diverse bench, right? So we need men and women on the bench.
When you say diversity, though, that's controversial as well. When we say diversity, it's not necessarily made up of a genetic predisposition or like whether they're Black or man or woman. It's really about the behavior, the work, how it's affected.
But it's based on their background, right? And the fact that we want to be seen when we come to court. And so you're going to have a diverse court to be seen. We do want that young thug to get just as much of a fair trial as anyone else, right? And so they have to look beyond, sort of what they look like. And so we need that diversity. And so what we decided was we'll have the judicial candidates come in front of us, meet the community can meet them. So you're a more informed voter. The other thing that we've done, we'll do this again. We'll have our first fully elected school board that we're going to vote for in November. So we started now in developing our candidates questionnaire for school board candidates, as well as a separate one for the president, because we're going to elect the president of the board this go round. And so we will have forums in the community to talk about the school board, the type of talent you need on that board, and have forums when these candidates step up. But we're going to take an active role in that process. That's what we have to do is do that. And so
I think they're applying for a job, and they need to make clear what their makeup is, the bio, the whatever it is. You're going to put your resume out, do something to help us to know who this person is that's running for this seat and why we think they would qualify in that regard. There is so many things that are missing before the actual run for candidacy. And we're so caught up in the celebrity of candidacy. And I would call it celebrity because it's like a big party that's happening before, and it got your mind all filled up, and everybody's running around trying to figure out what we're talking about. Well, who you vote? I'm voting for this person, or they're not talking about it at all because there's nothing to it. I don't know. I'm being honest when I say this as a voter. I don't feel like I really know who to vote for. No matter how we're in this conversation, I don't feel safe in voting. I don't feel like they're going to be the results are going to be the outcome that I hope for.
Yeah, so, but part of that is us. See, part of that is us. First of all, you got to have the ask. What's your demand, right? So, of your alderman,
yes,
what's important to you in your particular ward or your town if you're in the suburbs, right? What's important to you? Is it bringing business into the community? Is it improving the housing, right? Is it safer streets? So tell them what you want and see who has at least an idea of what they want to do. And then here's the thing. And then once they get into office, then you ensure that they do it. You work with them. You attend meetings. Now, we know we all can do all of this. So how do we share in that burden?
Yes.
Right? So I'm in the 4th Ward. I got friends that are in 4th Ward. So what I say is you go to the community meeting this week, I'll go next week. Mm-hmm. Let's compare notes because we have to share that burden.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Just figure out how to be active in the manner in which you can be, and care enough to ask the question and to challenge our elected officials as well as our business folk, right? What are you going to get?
Like basic on the ground coalition of community people walking around, talking, meeting in their little spaces and saying, hey, these are things that's going on. These are the people saying they want to run. Do we have somebody we want to put in as a candidate? We can start empowering ourselves by working for public.
One of the most important things we could do is identify our own candidates. Don't wait for someone to jump up. It could be your son or your daughter that you know has the sense of community, has the skill set, has the drive. So let's get behind that person.
That's right. Yeah.
Let's create our own bench. We wait for someone to jump up. That's why I'm going to use the school board again. Not only will we develop the candidates questionnaire, but we will seek out individuals we think are the type of individual we want on the board and encourage them to run and support them. As long as they themselves have something to start with, we'll help them. But let's be intentional in all aspects of our lives. If it's important to you, then be intentional about it and find ways to do your part. And one thing I would tell you, Senabella, I do not determine what you need to do or this person. And I will not judge. First, figure out what I'm going to do. And I just ask each of us, figure out what your part is. It might be supporting an organization with dollars because you don't have the time yourself. Or it could be mentoring a young person, on your block. There's various ways in which we can get back. I would tell you this. As a parent, if you work with your children, if you instill in them a sense of community, you're doing your part right there. You don't have to do anything else but build self-esteem within your children and that they know they are black and they feel good about being black. That's huge right there. There's various ways that we can do our part. We just have to figure out what that part is and act on it.
Right. And we can feel good about doing our part.
Absolutely.
One thing that I'm going to I take a little pride in is that where I live, I make sure I speak to everyone on the street as I'm passing, when I leave my door. I'm having conversations with everyone. I don't have any kind of apprehension about communication. I look right at people, speak to them. Hello, how are you? If we're standing together, I say, oh, you live in the neighborhood? Really? You've been over here for a long time? You have foundational community people, like what's going over here with the Obama campus. It's like, how do you really feel about that? How do you feel that the Obama campus is going to serve your community? How has it affected you this far? What does housing look like over here? Why are you afraid that you're not going to be here after being here as a foundational community person? There are so many things that we need to address. How does the University of Chicago affecting this neighborhood? The hospitals, Northwestern is here. We've got University of Chicago here. Pretty soon we're going to have every other kind of hospital here fighting for the foundational community people in our communities. And so there are a lot of things that we need to be really active on and talk about and do something about. It's not just about electing officials. It's how those officials are also working with the very institutions that we're talking about, that the money that they're given in order to run. So there are a lot of things we're up against. I'm going to take a quick break and we're going to come back. And if you don't mind, we can respond. You can respond to that.
All right.
Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Good. Let's go.
Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
Everything we're made of contains light. From the sun that feeds our world to the energy that flows within us. With LifeWave X39, we've found a way to put that light to work. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality. By gently stimulating the skin with light, our non-invasive, non-transdermal X39 patches help you conquer your active lifestyle and pave a new way to vibrant health.
Coffee Breakers, if you're here with us still, and those who are new in the room, welcome. We're coming back with Craig Wimberly of Cole, and we're having a very vibrant conversation about voting, community, what are our personal rights, what are the things that we're doing to really activate and to be a part of what we hope to be change in our communities. And there was a question that I asked you before we left. Are you ready to respond to that?
Re-ask the question.
I was hoping you remember.
but can I make a quick point?
Yeah.
And I think it's important for your listeners to know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Cole was founded by 13 of Chicago's historic African-American men's clubs. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But we know to make things happen, you need Black women. So we literally changed our bylaws so that we could add at-large members, because I knew a bunch of brothers weren't going to get it done by ourselves, and we needed Black women.
Probably would have been more successful a long time ago if y'all had.
Just trust me on this one, okay? That's why I'm giving that to you. So we opened up.
You get a church. You get a church.
We opened up our membership, so we got a number of women involved with us also. But that was critical for us building the network necessary to get the work done. And as you ladies know, you roll up your sleeves and you get the job done.
Yeah.
And so when I look at our co-chairs, I've got Susan Wills, who heads up jobs and training. I've got Dr. Kim Dulaney, who works with Principal Gerald Morrow, heading up our education committee. I've got Heather Wills and Sharon Franklin, who together co-chair our community and voter engagement committee. So I'm just giving props.
Well, I love that. I'm going to say this and go back to somewhere where we were earlier in the conversation about on the ground people. I think that when you're doing this, you have to say, but who are some of the thought leaders in the community that
absolutely
who don't necessarily come with the education and
absolutely
all, but have the information.
Absolutely.
People who are affected by the things that you're doing are not affected by the things that you're doing. And here's another conversation we need to get in. And let me just put up Lawrence's. He said, we must get back to community. We don't know our neighbors. We must leave our silos. I agree. So that's what this is for me. Your presence has caused in me the desire to talk about the on the ground activities that are going. Like, we have not discussed yet, and I'm probably moving ahead too quickly, but what is the absence of Jesse Jackson's life in Chicago, not just America? What does that look like? What does that mean?
I would say, and because he's been ill for a while, right? And because we haven't focused enough on succession planning, that we've had a growing hole because push has not been what push has historically been. Mm-hmm. So it's a great loss, one, for the community. He's a national icon, right? And hopefully we're all holding him up.
Yes.
But that just means simply that organizations, we have to find our new organizations that are stepping up. Cole is doing his part, but there's others. What is the West Side NAACP doing? The South Side NAACP, the Suburban NAACP doing? What is the Urban League doing right now? And there's a number of other, we have to step into that space, right? And ensure that we're caring for our community. It really starts with, again, us understanding that we're all in this together. The individual who said it goes back to us building up our neighborhoods and our community. We have to get back to that. It really does take a village, right?
Yes.
And that's where our focus needs to be. Again, me being connected to you, you knowing that if there's an issue that maybe, let me call Wimberly and see, is Cole wading into this, or maybe they should? Or what organization handles this sort of thing? That's what we have to be about. Now, and there's some basic things I think that we should do. And this starts with the family. I challenge everyone to ensure that every member of their family that's voting age is registered to vote. It is no way you should not ensure that your family is registered. Even if you can't convince them yet to vote, they need to be registered. And
that means we conversations about voting.
Absolutely. And
a lot of people occasionally talk about voting and being partied and stuff, but that's not true today.
Wait. And when you vote, take your kid along so they understand the process. See, let me just say this, we own what happens to us. We own solving our issues. Mm-hmm. And so we have to step up to do that. So again, I ask each of these listeners, ensure that every member of your family is registered to vote. That's a basic. When I was growing up, you couldn't wait to get old enough, right?
Right. Smoking and voting.
So you have to instill that. And in Chicago, here's the thing, in Illinois,
a rite of passage.
You can register at the age of 16, pre-register, so that at 18, you automatically get the vote. So we should be working in our schools, right? to pre-register our children. So there's things that we can start with within the family and then with our neighbors. Find an organization that is involved in something that you are interested in and get engaged, right? If that's something you'd like to do. We just got to find ways to do our part to help, because my belief is you solve the world hunger by feeding a family today. When you look at the big issue, it's not about that big issue. It is, but that's not how you solve it. You break it down into what you can do. If you feed a family that's hungry, you are solving world hunger. And that's how we have to look at it, right? Sometimes we can't be overwhelmed by the stuff that's impacting us. It's like our elected official. Cole puts out an issue where I listed every Black official in the state of Illinois. You can't walk a block in Illinois without bumping into a Black elected official. And yet we have the issues we have, which means they're not doing their job. So how do we help them do better at that? And so Cole wrote some guidelines on how these caucuses need to work as a caucus to leverage their power. There's things that I think each of us can do. We just got to find what that thing is. But here's the thing: we cannot get discouraged. There's a lot of good work going out here. We just need to be better connected.
I agree, and I want to address the word discouraged. I don't think people are discouraged. I think, well, discouraged means several things. First of all,
All right.
I'm just not going to speak to it in discouragement, but people really are weighing in on what they think about, with what they think they can do, because so much is happening. We feel like we're in an emergency state of action. So we have a new election coming up very soon. And I'm going to say that I think there are going to be a lot of non-voters in the election.
Yeah.
Only because
We got to solve that, though.
people are exasperated.
Yeah, but we got to solve that.
Yeah, but what are some of the steps that we can take before this election to say that we feel good about standing in the line or mailing in our votes? What can someone do? What are some of the practical steps that a person can take to overcome this disparity about voting?
Well, first of all, here's the thing you got to understand. Everything you do is an attempt, a try. My thing is this. If I fell in love and the young lady says, I don't want you anymore, I'm hurt by that, but I'm not going to give up on love. I'll find the next individual. So we have to understand that when you vote, right, you're voting on the person that you think can best deliver for you. But you know that's not a guarantee. So if that person doesn't work out, then let's work to get that person out and get the next person in. In other words, it's an ongoing thing. Life is ongoing. Mm-hmm. You don't stop a thing. Mm-hmm. I'm just amazed when people say, I no longer vote. Why? Because it hasn't worked for me. Well, it's self-defeating, right?
Right.
If you don't vote, you can't get out the people who aren't delivering to get someone in that can deliver. So we just have to, I think, encourage each other, right? Again, start with the family, start with your friends, but you have to encourage each other because it's critical. You use every lever you have to improve your life. The political lever is a critical one. Why? Because those are the ones that determine where investments are made, the services that are provided. That's a lever you cannot give up, right? Mm-hmm. And education is a lever, so you try to get educated. But I'm just saying you use every lever you have to improve your life and the life of your community. And the political lever is a critical one. We move mountains when we vote. Harold Washington is in there because we came together and said, we believe and we will make that happen.
As well as Obama.
As well as the Supreme Court Justice Neville.
That's right.
We got him in there.
Yes.
We have the Illinois Supreme Court is led by a Black man because of our vote. And that impacts how justice is dispersed here in Illinois. Mm-hmm. So it can be impactful. And I will tell you, a number of our elected officials do not deliver. but that doesn't mean you give up. What that means is either you force them to deliver or you replace them.
Well, how about this? Since Cole is so active in making sure these things are at the top of the list, people are, this is your list. This is how you're going about your, why not after the election, for those who've been elected, that there is a big open town hall where people can see the now elected. People can walk in and see who these people are that they voted for, and they can begin to have that open dialogue and begin to express their concerns, their anxieties, and why they voted for them. And why don't we do that often? Why do we do it only? We shouldn't just do it once. We should do it like once every 6 months, once every 3 months. We need to do check-ins
in every community.
Right. The state of my office, addressing the people about the state of my office. What is, even judges, even though they can't talk about certain things, they can come in and talk about how to protect yourself better, how to prepare. A judge telling people that is huge, as opposed to attorneys that they have to go to and to try to figure out the solutions for their family or themselves, right? But it's so important that they're celebrities because they're celebrated for dynamic actions and work for the people.
It's interesting you say that. I was just talking to someone and said that after an election, we should put together, have a lunch, whatever, for our elected officials and say, this is what we expect of you.
Yeah, but for everybody to be welcome, not a lunch. Because if you're going to feed everybody, that's wonderful.
Here's what I'm saying, though, so you understand. It starts with us, one, saying to them, all right, collectively, we demand you guys work together for us. Now, in addition to that, what you're saying is in every community, we need to have our town halls where our elected officials come, and some of them do this, but make sure it happens in every community and let the community say, this is what my issue. Oh, absolutely, we need to do that. And particularly we need to do with our youth.
Mm-hmm. So if you want people to do something to get you to where you need to go to perform a task you want to take on, then there has to be, what is the planned agenda for the next? How do we know that we've done the right thing? That's how you will encourage voting. That's how you'll encourage people at the dinner table talking about voting and how to build and grow a community. The reason why I think it has failed is because people do not feel connected to outcome. And when families fail each other, it's because they don't feel connected to outcome. So now the larger family, the community or the city, don't feel connected to outcome. You see the same kind of things going on all the time, from the mayor's office, the governor's office, the Senate, everywhere. You see the same.
What we also have to do is celebrate when the wins do occur. Because sometimes we're so focused on what isn't happening.
Well, maybe they need to have the party for that too. We just hit a goal. Let's have a goal party.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. In other words, we ourselves have to tell our own stories. We have to tell our own wins. This program is a great program, all right, that more people should be aware of. So again, it's communicating and celebrating, uplifting, recognize. There were some people saying something negative about Jesse Jackson. It's not a matter whether you liked him or not. Right. But you got to acknowledge all the great things this man did as someone from our community. Because when you uplift individuals, right, our people see the possibilities. Our young folks see the possibilities.
Not only that, but you saw the overcome in his family. All his children are present. All the women in the part of the community of the conversations are present. All of the people who didn't like something were present. Let's just get real. Every family has these problems, and we can always speak to other people's problems, but we need to address things differently. We need to just start seeing ourselves, well, you know what? You don't want anybody to bring your name up at the table.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you may not even see yourself, but you will be celebrated that way. Yeah. And people wait usually till death till they talk about things.
Right. So let me tell you how we address the issues that we choose to address, right? So again, I have the working committees in different spaces, and what they should do is meet, discuss the issues, and determine where we might add value, right? So I attended a meeting of 10 by 10 to Win, which is an organization run by Mark Wallace.
Okay.
It's about organizing the community, right? Particularly around voting, right? So that we can identify the candidates to get behind and use the power of the vote to get them in. I attended one of his organization meetings, and he had a gentleman, Kevin Jackson, and his attorney. Kevin Jackson was wrongfully convicted and spent 23 years in jail. He just was freed in 2024. And he's trying to get a certificate of innocence that the state's attorney is trying to block.
A certificate of innocence.
That's right. Which allows him really to get his financial act together. You get more money when you sue the state for the wrongful conviction, so on and so forth. Now, I saw them. So how do I amplify that message? So I reached out to both of them and said, hey, will you come to a cold breakfast? So my last cold breakfast was having Kevin Jackson and his attorney, Attorney Bacon, Elizabeth Bacon, on tell us about what is happening with him. We determined that we were going to go down to his next hearing to show support for him getting this certificate of innocence. Now, this is a man who spent 23 years in jail for murder he did not commit because of the trumped up, evidence and all of that. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to work on legislation around certificates of innocence so that when someone is freed, it's automatic. They should not have
that was going to be my next question. Yes,
that's what we're going to do. So here's the thing. I attended a meeting of 10 by 10. I said, hi, this is an issue we need to amplify. We didn't amplify it. Now we're going to work with our legislators to change legislation so that the people like this, and there's a lot of our individuals who are in jail because of trumped up charges and evidence to hold.
They lose time and they lose support and they lose everything.
But here's the thing. He is such a sharp young guy, and he's young to me. He's in his 40s now. But he kept the faith himself. So how can we not keep the faith in supporting him? But I guess what I'm saying is it was because I said, let me attend 10 by 10's meeting. I hadn't been at a meeting for a while and see what's going on. And so we partner with them on issues. So what I try to do is find other organizations and individuals doing a thing and try to work with them to build our capacity to do more. Mm-hmm. So again, it's just finding where you can add value, right? And trying to find that means of doing it and then doing your part. And I think if each of us does that, I think we'll get there.
Well, let me say this, what we can do on our part here at Female Solution is you can send those people to us for us to make public so we can have the conversations, find ways of supporting, building, and understanding each other's needs.
Oh, beautiful.
So yes. Female Solution has many shows on here with some dynamic other hosts who are doing shows. And I would ask people to take time to go to Female Solution and check out what our shows are and see where you'd like to place someone or become part of the conversation. Many of my guests here are people that I would like to have on, such as I do you right here today, as I do you here today. I think it's important that we hear all the voices, that we understand all of the things in principle that are affecting our lives. Where are the places that we're stuck at? How do we get out of that? And how does our help really cause and commute change, right? We have to be a part of solution-driven conversation, solution-driven living, right? And yes. And the biggest part is that we're talking about community. And like I said earlier, I think 8 years ago when I moved into Woodlawn, I didn't realize that I would be so established in such a spiritual way in the community. I didn't know that I would be talking to so many kinds of people. I had no idea that I would feel safe in this community with so many problems that existed and still do, but not as much. But to be in Woodlawn in the smack dab of history and in Chicago and understanding the greater needs of this community has really driven me in a different way. And in purpose, my music, my activity socially, I'm an activist in many ways. I try to make sure that all my messages are aligned in the same principle and values in which I do as a performer and as a community person.
Let me add this, Senabella.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna let you have. We got a few seconds. Right. So go ahead.
I also chair the board of National Black Agenda Consortium, We created a National Black Agenda in 2015, updated it in 2017, updated it in 2019, and now we need to update it again. And because what we do is create this Black Agenda, and then we disseminate this to all of our elected officials. If any of your listeners would like to work on that, please let me know.
Sounds good.
All right.
Johnson, one of our wonderful foundational people here, female speaks. She says, gold parties sound wonderful. Let officials know we are united in following the money. It always leads to truth.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, we've had so many beautiful comments here. And one of the things I really enjoy about the coffee breakers and those who come into the podcast is they're very vocal. And so I'm going to make sure that I begin to put them into the conversations. I'm going to invite one of those people to each conversation so we can have more on the ground conversations about what's going on here in the city of Chicago and around the world. There are so many things that we can talk about. Craig, I hope you come back soon. I hope you send more of your organizational people, people that you think that we should be talking to,
I will absolutely do that. I appreciate that.
We must get back to establishing morals again. Morals and principles. Yes, we need to put together outlines of all these things. Let's get to the gold parties and let's
know that you are my hero. All right.
Oh, you are really saying something. I'm gonna go because he's gonna make me cry because I get the world of you, Craig. Thank you so much for saying.
Appreciate you having me on.
Okay, I'm go. Look, everyone, have a beautiful weekend. Thank you so much for believing in Female Solutions and what I do here as part of this here dynamic group of people, women and men as well now, who are putting out information that you need to have. Thank you, Dr. Naima Latif. Everyone have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you next Friday right here on Coffee Break Live with Senabella. Thank you, Craig. Thank you so much. We're going to keep on this conversation.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network. Call 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you.